Welcome back to the Justin Prince Show. I am so excited to introduce you to Heather Brown. This is, first of all, your energy, the way you show up, is part of your calling card, and this woman has just powerful energy. She's just a really bright light in the world. And part of why I'm excited for you guys to meet her and to get to know her story is because we live in this new digital economy, and your Instagram, profile is your business card, for example. Like, in other words, people are like checking you out online. Who are you? Trying to build like and trust. And she really is an expert at helping you to build and scale your online business and your online brand and to get more reach and to impact more people and to grow your revenue and to grow your business. So, Heather, I am so fired up to have you here. Thanks for making the effort. I'm so excited to dive into this.
Yeah, hey Justin, and hey y'all. I'm so excited to be here. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. So if I say anything too slow or you can't understand me, Justin, just tell me to repeat it with that accent.
I'm gonna say I used to live in Mississippi and Louisiana, so I'm loving that accent already. That takes me back to the South.
I love it so much. Well, you got to get down here soon, that's for sure.
Well,
I was just telling Justin how excited I am for Make to get kicked off, and just that I love the energy he brings too. So thank you for that kind introduction. But the South really is something special, and so I'm like, you need to come down here and be speaking and teaching and doing all the things so I can meet him.
love it. Let's do it. I can't wait. Well, listen, you have a really interesting background. You call yourself a dinosaur blogger. So you've been in this game, some things you can only learn through experience. You've been in this game of putting out content, adding value, showing up with consistency for quite some time. So walk us through, that journey that takes us up to right now. And then I want to dive into how can we really help our audience to expand their reach on social media.
Absolutely. So I will say that, yes, I do call myself a dinosaur in blogging. I honestly kind of stumbled into it, as most people do. I feel like in the entrepreneurial world, when you're first getting started, nobody really knows what they're doing at the beginning, and you kind of just fake it until you make it. But I definitely had a little bit of a level up, I feel like, because my background, my degree was in journalism and mass communication. I thought that I might want to do broadcasting or public relations. I always thought it was super interesting just how people tick. I'm very much so a people person. So I got my minor in sociology. And then I this is kind of a cheesy little known fact. Not many people know this about me, but I had to make my way in college. So my parents basically paid for the books and the college tuition, but then it was like anything extra I wanted to do, whether it be sorority or choir, your gas, like spring break trips, any of that kind of stuff. I was working to get that money. So I worked for Red Bull energy drink during college, which was a super fun job. I drove the little Mini Cooper around and sampled Red Bull, which is just a great way to get your start because it does just throw you out there. You got to get thrown out in the deep end, learn what you're doing. And then I graduated college, married my college sweetheart, and just started working for Vitamin Water and Smart Water, doing the same type of marketing initiatives, driving a van across the Southeast to different concerts and sponsors that we had and being a part of that. Loved it. But in the meanwhile, God was really moving, and my husband was an accountant. And he truly hated his job. It just was not what God had called him to. He did it because it was a safety net, and that's what he thought he was supposed to do. And he quit his job with the calling of the Lord and went back to school to become a cardiovascular nurse practitioner. But because of that, the budget was really tight for us. So at that point, I was working as a low-level marketing executive. And I mean, Justin, when I tell you we were pinching pennies, like our grocery budget was $40 or under a week. We were, buying and getting used clothes from people. Like it was, living well below our means to make sure that we could make it work. And so as I was saving money and learning the couponing game and how to do all these things to save money, one of my girlfriends was like, Heather, why didn't you tell us that we could have gotten paid by CVS to get razors this week? And why didn't you tell us that we could get a dress on clearance for $7 at Goodies? And she was like, you know what? I'm just going to start you a blog. And then when people ask you why you didn't tell them that thing was on sale, you can just say, well, you could have read it on the blog. So at that point, it's probably 14 or 15 years ago at this point. Nobody was reading it but my mom and my high school friends, of course. Mm-hmm. And then Pinterest came out, and Pinterest really changed the game for me. I was an early adopter of it, which I really do think that there's a lesson to be gleaned there for people listening to this that are in business. If there's a new platform that comes out, even if you aren't going to like go throw yourself all in on it, you definitely want to at least go get your, handle or your name secured on that account and, just start to watch it and see what's happening. Well, Pinterest took one of my recipes and it went viral. So then all of a sudden I'm having hundreds of thousands of trafficked pages on my website, and the recipe is getting pinned millions of times. And then that's when advertisers started reaching out to me about my website and saying, at that time, it was, can we buy a sidebar ad? And I was like, I don't even know what that is. But my husband had been a business major. So I'd literally be like, okay, Eric, the Coca-Cola marketing executive wants a sidebar ad. Like, what do I say? And he'd be like, dear sir. And I'd be like, okay, slow down, like literally typing, what to say back, because I was so overwhelmed by all of it. Well, then fast forward in my journey, I start to learn what that looks like to get advertisers on and all those things. Then Instagram comes along, and y'all, Instagram totally changed the game. I mean, it was so fun because that broadcast background that I'd been interested in. I had done an internship at our local Fox affiliate. I got to be on Instagram feeling like I had my own type show, showing up face to face, bringing the energy, bringing the fun, helping people learn how to, live a life well loved, how to save money, how to live their life to the fullest that they could. And then I feel like now I'm talking really long in the weeds, so I'm going to speed it up a little bit. Started to have kids, left my part-time job, was able to take this full-time, and now I've rebranded. I am Healthy by Heather Brown everywhere you can find me on social media. Launched my podcast 2 years ago, and honestly just am loving watching what the Lord's been doing in my life. It truly is just because of him, because I didn't know that much getting started, and I'm so, so grateful for the platform that I've been gifted.
Yeah, I want to start with this. That background's incredible. I want to start with this. I think a lot of the times we think the things that disqualify us from, having a personal brand and stepping out there and doing what we do is actually the thing that qualifies us. Like in your case, here you are, living, on $40 a week and like trying to scrape by, and that's actually where you start. That's the message. Most people would think like, I'm not a millionaire and I don't have all this success to talk about. You started with just helping that person, it's like serving the person you used to be. Like you were serving the person that you were at that time. And that plus all of your hunger and your desire to serve, plus all of your, work ethic and hunger. Is that one of the things that you feel like just to start that you teach people is like, hey, get going. Like, let's go. Like start posting, start doing a video, like get yourself out there a little bit. Is that part of where you feel like you start people off?
Absolutely. I think that, Justin, you're so good at calling out parts of a story and tying it back into your audience. So first of all, kudos to you on being a great interviewer already. But I would just say getting scrappy. Like, I feel like my early life and early married life taught me to get scrappy. And I did not take no for an answer. It was like, I know that I can put in the work to get there. I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. I'm very driven. And so I always tell people when I'm helping coach them that are just getting started in social media, you want to do the reps now when your account is small, because then by the time that maybe you do have a video go viral, or maybe by the time you do, hit that next level in your MLM or in whatever it is that your business is, you want to get those reps in early and be the person that wasn't afraid to quit. Just keep putting yourself out there, because you get better every single time you do it.
That is so good. That is so good. Get the reps in early. Start learning the process. You don't have to be perfect day one. Done's better than perfect. That is such good advice to kind of get in the game.
Oh,
And to your
Justin,
point,
I have a mortifying story to tell that I'm like, why not? We're here. So, me and my friend, so I'll give you a few examples of times that I have failed. Me and my friend Ashley Turkers, who now is married to Spencer Turnbull. She used to be here in Birmingham, and I adore her, but her mom is Lisa Turkers and one of the largest, women's ministries in the country. And me and Ashley decided that we were going to do a Christmas like bonanza, almost like an online shopping experience. So think like QVC or HSN, and we like do the thing. We launch it. We are announcing it everywhere. We've got on sponsors. We've got like thousands of dollars worth of sponsors lined up. We've got show notes. We built a set. It's the whole nine. And then her mom offers to share it on her Facebook page to millions of followers. And me and Ashley were kind of like, oh, okay, like, wow, it's our big shot, and I'm thinking, here I come, ABC News, Heather Brown, like, this is gonna be my fast forward shot. Y'all, we set it up. We try to go live on Facebook, and the camera's set up. Me and Ashley roll. We do the whole show, and we're like, man, we were like vibing off of each other's energy. We crushed that. Like, we did so good. And then we go back to the camera after it's over, and y'all, I'm not exaggerating, multiple hundreds of comments on this, like thousands of views, and every comment is, hey, we can't hear you. The sound's off. You're sideways. Can you flip the camera? And then we were just, when I tell you, like, I don't think I've ever been more embarrassed in my entire life. And literally for weeks after that, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and be like, it wasn't a nightmare. It actually happened.
I have had those.
I got the reps in. You know what I mean?
I have had those. That is a great, great, great story. I've had those. So talk to us about, social media today. Where are you coaching people? Where are you finding the success yourself, in reels, in video, in posts? Like, what are you doing right now to really scale your engagement and, find your audience and serve at the highest level? Like, what are some of the strategies you're applying right now?
Yeah, for sure. So, you direct me how in depth you want me to go, and maybe you can even like segment me in between like Instagram in feed and stories, and if you want to go to different,
Yeah, let's start Instagram.
Okay, cool. So Instagram, I would say by far is my most successful platform, not only in engagement and followers, but also in just the connection with the community. And I think that you have to be, I know you guys hear this every time from every single person that ever talks about social media, but you have to show up. That's number one. You've got to show up. And I don't mean show up and post a still slide on Instagram stories. And I don't mean show up and post a picture of the product you're selling in feed. You have to show up as you, and you've got to get real, and you've got to get raw, and you've got to let those people feel like you are their best friend or you are their sister, and they have got to know, like, and trust you. And it is completely, it's like a do or die. Like, you're either going to sink or swim. You have to show up every single day, except for however many days you decide that you're not going to show up. So for me, I show up right now on Instagram 7 days a week, unless it is something where I'm saying to my team, I'm out of office, I'm taking off this day, my kid's sick. But ultimately, my followers know to expect Heather to show up every day. And also, I've got the consistency of posting in feed 2 times a day. They know there's going to be a morning post. They know there's going to be an evening post. And just a quick algorithm hack, and I'm curious how you work this as well, Justin, but you can't just decide to post, oh, I'm going to do 5 reels a day. And then the next day be like, oh, I only got 2 ready. And then the next day be like, oh, I didn't get any together, because the algorithm is going to tank you if that happens. You have to build on consistency. So when people say be consistent, they don't just mean you have to show up. It's like all these layers underneath that. How do you feel like that plays out on your account?
Yeah, no, I love that. And I agree. So when you're saying show up, by the way, just to clarify, show up daily, that's in your stories too.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you're having those conversations.
I'm showing up on stories. And to me right now, stories is probably I will say the one thing that me and some of my friends that have been in this for a while say is that the only thing you can count on Instagram to do is to change, and change often. That's the only thing that I really come to Instagram and expect. So it's like by the time Justin airs this episode, some of the things that I'm telling you may have changed a little bit, but you have to be on top of those trends and willing to change things yourself. So I just went to a mastermind in Franklin, Tennessee with Dr. Josh Axe and Dr. Dan Sullivan, Dr. Tony Ebel, and they had their social media guy on stage. And he was saying, like, I realize that you're going to have to hire someone to help you do this. But he said, ultimately, the name of the game on Instagram right now is just like spray and play. You have got to get out so much content into that algorithm. You do not have time to like worry about what every single caption has. It can't be perfect. You just got to get it out there. So me and my team went back and forth. First, we tested, okay, we were doing 3 times a week. Can we bump up to once a day? So this is since April. So we haven't been playing a lot since April. We bumped up to once a day and we were like, okay, this feels achievable. Then we bumped up to 2 reels a day because you want reels to get your reach. And you also want a trending audio on your reels. And you also want to try to make sure that that trending audio, when possible, has, I would say, a good benchmark is 5,000 uses or less. But if you can find like 2,000 or less, that's like A plus ticket. And you also want to work in original audios when you can at times. But ultimately, we kept playing with it. We got up to 3 reels a day, 7 days a week. And we were like, this is not sustainable. So now that we've done that for 2 weeks, we feel like it's safe to bump back down to 2 reels a week. We're testing it, and that seems to be a really good sweet spot for us right now. But we don't expect to make that change and to immediately feel the result. You have to let the algorithm adjust to you first.
Start with a person, because I actually want to talk about scale and hiring and creating a team and so on. But start with the person that's listening. They're like, okay, it's just me right now. They don't have a team. They're just kind of getting rolling here. How are you encouraging them to be consistent? Like, what are the strategies to not necessarily just the mental mindset stuff, like the actual practical, like, hey, here's how I batch my content, or here's like on Tuesdays I talk about this, or what are some of the strategies you've applied to keep yourself consistent?
Yeah, for sure. So in general, first of all, let me say that we'll talk about hiring a team next maybe, but when you think about being consistent, we were using the Instagram scheduling app, and unfortunately it was just having too many glitches. It wasn't really working out. So now we've switched over to the one that Brock Johnson recommends, and now I'm blanking on it, but I can send it to you afterwards, Justin, to put in the show notes. But essentially that now allows us to schedule out. We're aiming for about 2 weeks worth of scheduled out Monday, morning and PM. And if you don't have a team member yet, you could start a direct message with you and your husband, or you and your backup account, or you and your personal account. But you need some kind of way to save reels that speak to you or that you think you might want to emulate or replicate. So right now, me and my COO have a shared DM called Reels. And every time that I see a reel in my algorithm or that's served to me that I'm like, ooh, I love that audio. Ooh, I love the way that she phrased this about how to reset. I'm going to repurpose that for me in my Sunday reset. Or, oh, I loved this trend and I'm seeing it a lot. So we probably need to put our spin on it. We send it to Reels. And then that way, when I sit down to batch shoot, I'm just opening up that Reels album and starting from there. Because you guys know how it is. When you open up Instagram, a lot of times you're like, oh my gosh, so-and-so had a baby. Oh my gosh, I need to check these stories from so-and-so. Yeah. So it's like having that one spot where you're saving things to be ready to batch is huge. And we also have a once a month meeting where we're talking through some of the top reels, our top sponsors. Also, when I say top reels, what I mean is you also have the freedom to repurpose reels. And in fact, most people would encourage you to do that. So if I have a reel right now that gets over, I would say 15 to 20,000 views, but you have to know your own scale. So like if you have never had a reel go over 5,000, but you have a reel hit 2.5K, maybe that's your line for now. Yep. Whatever that reel is that has performed well, you want to keep putting that back into your rotation until it quits performing. Sometimes if the audio is no longer trending, then all I'll do is switch the audio to a new trending song.
Yep. Got it. I love that.
So
good.
And then the other thing is that, so once we make those reels, then I'm submitting them to the person on my team who edits the reels. So she's editing them, sending them to a shared album. So all of us on our phones have a shared album called like Reels, where they're then sending the edits over to me to approve. I'm either approving them, adding on, text edits or what have you. And then they're putting it in the scheduler, scheduling it out for the month. And then it's my job to go in and either go to ChatGPT or to start writing a caption. And a lot of times I'll go to ChatGPT and say, I want to write a caption about Owala water bottles, and I want to tie it into my Sunday reset. And in this reel, I'm using this trending audio, and I'm trying to hit these 3 key points. I let Chat GPT write it for me, and then I'm editing from
And you
there,
edit it.
unless
Yeah.
it's something that I want to write personally first.
Love that. And then so if you want to write it personally, do you write it and then send it to chat and then edit from there?
It depends. Sometimes if it's something super personal, like about my kids, then I just write it and then I maybe let ChatGPT edit it. But predominantly, I would say at this point, especially for when I'm working with brands, I'm going to ChatGPT first, actually, and then I'm editing in or saying like, I didn't love the way that you tied this into my Sunday reset, rewrite it. And then if they still didn't do a good job, then I'll put in my own spin.
Yeah. Yeah, editing oftentimes for a lot of us is easier than writing. Sometimes we look at it, we're like, "Okay, I got to start over." And editing, we're like, "Oh, okay. I would just say it a little different." There's
Yes,
so many nuggets that you just dropped in there. There's so many nuggets. So let's talk about scale because you've referenced a team. You've referenced of having a team, and I tell people one of the formulas I teach is what I call ILI. So the first, it's like imagine like a triangle. The top one is income. We're all trying to learn how to make a living. The bottom right is lifestyle. Am I creating a life that I love? Because if someone said you can have all this money, but you're going to hate your life, never see your kids, lose your faith, lose your health, none of us are going to pick it. So income's actually not the real goal. We're creating a life we love. And then the last one is impact. Am I impacting people's lives? So it's kind of this ILI formula. The challenge, though, is sometimes our income increases, but our lifestyle goes down. It's like we hate our life more. We're like, dude, I'm stressed out.
for sure.
So how do we do all three? And the way you do it is through creating great teams and creating great systems. And this is to me where part of where I feel like you really shine is in creating great teams, building a team, and then also creating great systems, which would be like the standard operating procedure, your kind of like your SOPs. Here's how we do what we do. So walk us through your philosophy of how you create teams, how you create systems, and this ultimately will create scale where you're increasing income, increasing lifestyle, and increasing your ability to impact people.
Yeah, for sure. Great question. I love that. I'm like, I'm going to have to go draw that triangle and remember that afterwards. But this is what I will say. When I started out, I was a new mom. I was overwhelmed. And to your point, the lifestyle was not sustainable. So part of me was like, do I just throw in the towel? Like now I have this baby and I know I need to make money, but also the amount of money I need to make, it's just so overwhelming. But let me just encourage you that just like we talked about earlier with social media, you just have to start with doing the reps. So I was like, well, if I don't hire my first person, then how am I going to get better at it and know what I'm looking for? So I actually started out really low level because, again, like we talked about before, I was very much so on a budget at that point. And I thought, well, I can find some free interns. And so I actually went to my college professor and I also went to some Facebook groups on, that were local. And I just said, I'm looking for an intern who is looking to, learn how to monetize and build platforms, looking to potentially have a future in social media. Wrote out the full thing and then started conducting interviews. I would say that I probably worked through about, I don't know, maybe 15 interns over time. And then eventually that led to now I found interns that are so good that I don't want to let them go.
Yep.
So at that point, then I started saying to the girls that were really shining, hey, I'd love to offer you, a part-time job. I can guarantee about this many hours per week. Would you be willing to come onto my team? And I will say, praise the Lord for my COO. I mean, I found her as an intern. She's now been working with me for about 5 or 6 years. And you always want to hire people that are smarter than you. I love to surround myself that are smarter than me because they are going to level me up. I know that my primary role is to be the visionary, to show up on camera, to connect with people. I get to do the things that I truly love now in the business. And I am then trying to find people that are so great at all the left brain side of things with more of like the invoicing, the budgeting, sales, all those things that go into a business that now I have been able to train them up. Now I have my COO who manages everybody, and she's so good at putting in the systems like you're talking, like we use Slack, we use Asana, we're using scheduling tools. We now have a podcast team. But I will say, Justin, you talked about getting out of balance. I think that you also have to realize at what point you're okay with getting out of balance and how you're going to get back in balance. So the busiest season for me in this marketing field is probably, to most of you know, it would be Q4. So at that point, everybody's shopping for Christmas. So more advertisers save anywhere from 60 to even 80% of their budget for people like me for Q4. And so me and my husband get on the same page. We're like, man, I know I'm about to go out of balance.
Yeah.
I know that please give me extra grace. I'm going to probably have to be up late working, not necessarily going to bed at the same time as you. I'm probably going to need some extra help 2 or 3 nights a week with even getting the kids to bed or, dinner or whatever. So that communication piece is huge between us. But then I'm saying, once we get through Q4, can you please help me come back in balance? And I think that that's really, really huge for us. But then to your point with the systems, and then each member on the team got an SOP. So that way, when they came on board, Alyssa could more easily train them because we have those replicable systems. But honestly, God really was moving both in her heart and my heart about 2 years ago. We have a Christmas break every year. So we bust our booties in October, November, and December. And then in December, about midway through the month, my kids get out of school and I'm like, peace out. We're not working collaboratively again until they go back around January 2nd or 3rd. So we have things scheduled out. We might talk occasionally in Slack, but there's no meetings, there's no Zooms, there's no podcast interviews, there's no sales calls, there's no nothing. And so then when we came back, we were like, this is killing us to manage 10 people. It's too much. Our lifestyle isn't what we want it to be. How do we get back in balance? And honestly, the Lord just moved because people on our team kept coming to us at different seasons and being like, I really don't want to leave. I love my job, but my mom's in the hospital and I have to walk away. And so we have actually been able to scale our team back to about 4 to 5 people now. And I'm so much happier. The lifestyle is so much more sustainable for where I am with young kids right now. And I'm so grateful for it.
Yeah, so one of the things that really pops off the page with you, and I'm hoping that it is for all of you listening, I'm hoping that this will hit you. Like, Heather, your resourcefulness, like you're just like, I'm going to go figure it out. Like, I'm just going to go do it, and just go make it happen. Your resourcefulness is so inspiring because I think a lot of us, we get kind of in that loop of like, I want to do it, but I don't know what to do exactly. So I don't do anything, kind of loop.
Totally.
And then when I'm frustrated and I still want to do it and I have dreams and goals, but I'm not doing it. And you have this like I want to do it and I'm going to start doing something until I figure out how to do it. It's really powerful. Like just this resourceful. It's like, I'm going to go through 15 interns at the school to figure out, to find the right ones. Another thing that I thought was so impactful is what I call enlisting your family. Like when you sit down with your husband, you're like, hey babe, look, Q4, you enlist him in the business. So it's not like it's mom's business. And so the kids and our spouse and everybody resent us like, oh my gosh, she's doing the business again. We're enlisted. It's not her business. It's our business. It's not my business. It's the family business, that kind of concept. And then I love that idea of like, hey, help me get back into, Q1, help me get back into that rhythm. I just, the more that you go, the more impressed I am with, both from systems perspective, from team building, and then also just your incredible resourcefulness to just go out and figure this out and build really an empire of a business. So I know you have a free resource that you recommend to people that are like, okay, I want to create some scale, looking to level up. Like I really have these dreams, I have these goals, and I'm not quite where I want to be. Walk us through what that resource is, and then we'll make sure we post it in the show notes as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, Justin, give me just a minute while I go back and pull it up. I'm so sorry. I clicked off of it. Let's see. Okay. Bless my heart. Let's see.
By the way, your story is unbelievable. I'm not kidding. Gosh. It's unbelievable.
You're very kind. Thank you so much. When I saw the beginning of your story and how scrappy and resourceful you were too, I was very, very impressed. That's for sure. So right back at you. Okay. Found it. Okay. So you had asked me about the free tool. Okay. So Justin, yeah, I would love to share a little bit about that. Essentially, I have a few that I really, really encourage, especially women. If you are a mom and you are so just stuck, and how do I make that next step? And you feel very overwhelmed by getting scrappy, I actually broke down every single tool and hack that we use within our business in alphabetical order, what we use them for, what the system is. So everything from what I talked about on here that you probably heard about, like Slack and Asana, down to like the nitty gritty things that we use, like for scheduling our Instagram or scheduling at our Pinterest, what we use to make affiliate revenue, all the different blogging resources that we have, and like things that we use to help build our website, our social media presence. And then I also have a Mama on a Mission worksheet where I really help you brainstorm your mission statement and your core values. Because at the end of the day, like Justin and I were talking about earlier, if you don't know that you're going to be able to leave your home settled while you're working in your business, then you're not going to feel right. And so these tools are free. I'll give them to Justin so that he can link them up for you guys. But then I also offer social media coaching and Instagram audits. It's kind of just like a low level way that you can learn more from me if you'd like for me to give you some personal advice. And then last but not least, this won't be for everybody, but me and my COO sat down and created a course where she and I literally just are going back and forth about every single system we use, how we do it, how we started, how we scaled our revenue. So if you are really looking for a way to maybe start a side hustle, or you want to level up your income on the side, then that's a great resource that I can also give to Justin, a link down below.
Incredible. Heather, by the way, it's make sure you guys check her out on Instagram at Healthy by Heather Brown. So Healthy by Heather Brown. So Heather, I was so impressed with you before we started this conversation, and I'm like blown away by you. After this conversation, I cannot wait to build this relationship and dive even deeper into doing this. It's like a mentor used to say, success will not attack you. And to me, it's like you went out and you figured it out. Like it wasn't just like it just bam, just happened to her. It's like no, you paid the price, you learned the skills, you built the systems, and then you had this just dogged determination to go make it happen. It's so inspiring.
Well,
And doing that, when you're living on $40 a week and cutting coupons, to start there and to see what you built is truly incredible.
Well, I definitely appreciate your kind words, but I do feel like I would be remiss to not say that I completely get convicted over and over and over again in the business side too, to keep surrendering it to the Lord. There were definitely highs and lows. I mean, I think everybody that was a business owner in 2020 probably felt the effects of that, and everybody then had to get scrappy all over again. And the Lord has been so sweet to remind me to surrender it to him. And only if my Instagram stories tanked that day and, some fluke happens where only an eighth of people saw it, my prayer is, Lord, I pray that whoever is meant to see this today will see it, and that truly my account is to bring him glory. And I want to obviously need to make money and need to support our family. But at the same time, I want it to bring him glory. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful.
Your foundation of faith is one of your additional really inspiring things, that your level of humility and I think it gives you even more purpose too in the work that you do, that it's deeper than just making a dollar. There's it's like one of the best ways to give glory to the giver of the gifts is to go glorify the gifts that you have, go do something with it. So love being on with you, and I'm so excited for people to get to know you. Again, make sure you check out the show notes, and then it's Healthy by Heather Brown on Instagram. Make sure you follow her as well, and send her a message of what inspired you with our conversation today. So Heather, thank you again. I cannot wait till we meet here in person again real soon.
That's right. We got to do it, Justin. Thank you guys so much for having me on. And make sure you go check out Justin on my show, because he drops some real good knowledge bombs that you do not want to miss on the Healthy by Heather Brown podcast. Thanks again, Justin.
Love it.